think about what you're passionate about, but make sure it's going to make money. Because people said follow your passion. And I don't disagree with that, but sometimes your passion, you can't monetize it to the extent that it is going to create a life that you would want to live for you and your family. And maybe that's not important to you, but I would say, listen, think about your passion, clearly understand how to monetize it. Make sure you have great people around you because you can't do it alone.
Hello, this is Marco Rock. Welcome to Marco Rock TV. I am Marco Rock, your host for Inside the Great Mind, where we interview entrepreneurs, leader, achiever for the purpose to inspire and inform you. Like any other day, we're so excited for our guest. It's to Anthony Goins. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Marco. How are you?
Good to have you on the show.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So tell us who's Anthony Goins.
Well, I'm just a little country boy from Greensboro, North Carolina, which is where I was born and raised. I spent time in the United States Marine Corps, and then I started a career in banking and financial services. After my Marine Corps career in 1986, I worked a number of years for American Express. Then I went to work for KeyBank, which was a Midwestern bank out of Cleveland, Ohio. And then I spent some time with Ford Motor Credit Company. Ford moved me around a number of times. A firm called USAA in San Antonio, Texas was another stop for me. And then I led global operations for JPMorgan Chase in 2010 or so during the financial crisis. I was co-located between New York City and Dallas, Texas, and I had teams in Manila, Cebu, India, Mexico. And then I got a call about a job as the chief operating officer for a bank here in Nebraska, Cabela's bank, the world's foremost bank. I had never been to Nebraska before in my life. And I had no intention on moving here. And I was shared with my fiance at the time, I'll just come here as a courtesy. And I promise I'm not taking the job.
Just check it out.
Just check it out. That's all I want to do. And Marco, I get here and I end up spending 3 days here. And it was just really something special about the city of Lincoln, the city of Omaha. And I called her back. She said, don't tell me we're moving to Nebraska. And that was in July of 2014. I took the job and moved here in August of 2014 and led the Cabela's operations as chief operating officer. We ended up selling the firm. And then I did some entrepreneurial things. I started a consulting firm, opened the Capital Cigar Lounge with my partner, Austin Hillis. And then I got a call from Governor Ricketts in July of last year about leading the state as I call myself the head coach of economic development. Yeah, for the state of Nebraska. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been a blessing.
Yeah, so from all your leadership positions that you have held in the past and now,
yes,
how does that shape you?
You know, I would say all of my leadership positions have really shaped me in a way to prepare me for what I'm doing right now. I think when you are growing in leadership, every step is a preparation. I often talk about my time at JPMorgan Chase, Marco, because it was really tough. It was during the financial crisis. JPMorgan Chase was being deposed because of portfolios that had been purchased from Bear Stearns and from Washington Mutual. So you had depositions and actions that were being taken by the CFPB, the OCC. And it was a very tough time for me personally because, the bank was in trouble and I was right in the middle. But in the midst of that storm, I learned a skill set around working with teams around really complex remediations, really challenging problem-solving issues. And that helped me when I went on to Cabela's, and it is actually helping me in the job that I'm in right now. We have a really complex issue called a pandemic, COVID-19, and the experiences that I had back in 2009, 10, 11, 12, and 13 have prepared me for what I'm doing right now.
What is your definition of a great leader?
I would say my definition of a great leader, Marcos, is a leader that listens. I think a leader has to listen. I think listening is a critical component because it makes you keenly aware of what's going on around you. I think leaders have to care. I mean, people don't really care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And that word care for me is not synonymous with being soft, but it is saying that, listen, if I care about you, then that's a segue to trust. And if we have trust, that's a segue to loyalty. And if we have loyalty, that's a segue to having real chemistry. And if we have real chemistry, then from a leadership standpoint, then that means we can win, we can accomplish the mission. You do so based on a set of values. Your values are synonymous with what you believe. What you believe drives your behaviors, and your behaviors drive your outcomes. And then a leader has to deliver results.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to deliver. You can strategize and talk tactics all day long, but you have to deliver.
So what are the primary roles of your agency, and what is your vision?
The vision for the state of Nebraska and the Department of Economic Development aligns with the vision of the state, which is to grow the state. And so, Marco, we look at how do we create great paying jobs for the citizens of Nebraska? How do we grow business disciplines that will allow us to be competitive on the world stage? So technology, healthcare, of course, agriculture, manufacturing, and the trades. Technology as the overarching theme, because when you think about the digital nature of what is happening in the world today, our state has to be competitive on the world stage. And so how do we continue to focus on growth, creating great paying jobs, creating business disciplines that will allow our citizens to have great opportunities? How do we create a more inclusive state so that everyone is welcome here? And as long as they subscribe to our value system, and as long as they subscribe to working hard and exhibiting grit, then we want to be able to make sure that folks know that you're welcome here in our state.
So one trend that we have sometimes is for people of color.
Yes.
People when they graduate, they don't see Omaha or Nebraska as very inviting. How do we make sure that people of color feel welcome here, and what kind of stuff do we do to promote that environment?
Marco, that's something that's really important to me, because let me share this with you. I grew up in the South, Marco, and I've been treated better in the state of Nebraska than any place I've ever lived in my career. And I think that it is up to my agency, me personally, I do believe to whom much is given, much shall be and is required, to help spread that message that Nebraska is an inviting place. Nebraska is a place that is welcoming. I think what we have to do, however, is we have to be more vocal about what I'll talk about as economic inclusion.
Okay.
And I know there are a number of social issues that are going on right now, but I believe, and I carry the governor's message around, listen, we need just do business. So what does that mean? Just do business means that if you're a majority firm, you need to look at your board. And if your board doesn't have any black folks on it, then you need to ask yourself, what do I need to do to make some adjustments? And it's not about just creating diversity. What the data shows is that companies that have more diverse populations and diversity in terms of thought, they actually perform better.
Okay.
So that means they generate more revenue, they generate more profitability. So if you are aligned with winning, then what you will say is that I need talent, and talent comes in different colors, different thought processes. So you got to look at your board, you have to look at your C-suite. And if you don't have any black folks in your C-suite, you need to ask yourself, what adjustments do you need to make? Because that's synonymous with winning and that's synonymous with talent. You need to look at all levels in your organization. Of course, Marco, you have HBCUs, and there are a lot of talented black students, both in the undergrad, the master's, and the PhD programs that would be willing to come here because this is such a welcoming state as long as the opportunity was the right opportunity. And you need to make sure that they are infused in every level of your organization and that there's real sponsorship, not just mentorship, But sponsorship meaning I'm recognizing this person's talent and I'm making sure that I'm promoting them accordingly, not in a way that creates disparity, but promoting them accordingly based on their talent, because this is going to be best for the firm and it's going to be best for our community and it's going to be best for our state.
So what resources that exist right now in the midst of COVID-19 for entrepreneur business owner here in the States?
Well, you know, what we've been able to do, Marco, in our state is to, when COVID hit, we were the first to market with the PPP loans, which is the Paycheck Protection Plan loans, and also the EIDL loan, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So in about 22, 23, 24 days, we pushed about $8 billion into the Nebraska economic system. That allowed us to create some level of stabilization. Now note the difference here in Nebraska is we never did a hard shutdown like some other states did. We looked at 3 metrics. You would always hear the governor say that we don't want to overrun the hospital system. So we always looked at utilization rates around hospital beds, ventilators, and the ICU. We looked to keep those utilization rates extremely low. We looked at the utilization rates by county, and we supported our small businesses by assisting them through our community banking system in getting those loans. What did that do? Nebraska was number 1 during the first distribution of PPP loans per capita in the United States. What we've also done is when we got the $1.08 billion of CARES money, we created grants for small businesses between 1 and 75 of $12,000. Now it was for for-profit organizations, and we also did the same for our cattlemen. We also provided $40 million for rural broadband, and this is for underserved areas that had less than 25.3. We gave $16 million to the community college system so that if you were in a constricted field, and when I use that term, I'm talking about, of course, the service industry has constricted because of COVID. We wanted to retrain you through our community college system and move you into a field that had a longer runway. And so we've put a number of practices in place based on the stimulus and the SBA dollars to stabilize our economy. The outcome is our unemployment rate is number 2 in the United States at 4.8%. And our GDP, which is a real indicator of the health of our economy, we're number 1 in the United States. We were least impacted from a GDP standpoint in the United States. So listen, we're feeling some pain right now, but when you look at us compared to the rest of the United States, the state of Nebraska is doing extremely well.
So you're also an entrepreneur, co-founded the Cabela cigar lounge.
Yes.
What inspired you into that venture?
You know, Marco, I've enjoyed cigars for 26 years, and for me, it's really not about. I mean, yes, it's about the cigar. Let me reframe that, because I do enjoy cigars, and I enjoy the conversation that comes along with the cigar. So when you think about enjoying a cigar with someone that you know, or even someone that you don't know, it forces you to slow down, because it's not like a cigarette. It forces you to slow down. It creates this back and forth conversation, and what you find out through that conversation is you have more in common than you do apart. It crosses economic barriers, it crosses racial barriers. I call it the great equalizer, because over a cigar I've seen blacks and whites and Mexicans and rich people and maybe not so rich people all come together, and you would never know, Marco, in the room who was who, because everybody was really congregating around the leaf.
So Tony, if you have a power to make one positive change in the world.
Wow, my goodness. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. One positive change, peace. Peace. I don't think that you can't put a price tag on peace. And I think right now, Marco, there's so much turmoil going on in the world. There's so many challenges and misunderstandings and miscommunication. If we could just have peace, then I think everything else would be okay.
That's amazing.
Yes.
If you were to be an animal, which animal would you be and why?
A lion.
A lion.
Yeah, because I think I think a lion, he moves with purpose. I mean, for the most part, they don't bother anybody unless you bother them. But they're always kind of looking at the landscape, making decisions around what is going to be necessary in order to take care of, their family and the flock that they care about. And then they have to hunt. So I like hunting. I don't like hunting animals. I like hunting business. That's why this job here is such a great fit for me. And I love my teammates. I had a great team here at the Department of Economic Development. I have a great team at the Cabela Cigar Lounge. And I love hunting business and growing business.
So what will be your last advice word to my audience?
The last word?
Well, you can address to any entrepreneurs out there or aspiring entrepreneurs.
Sure. My last word would be, listen, think about what you're passionate about, but make sure it's going to make money. Because people said follow your passion. And I don't disagree with that, but sometimes your passion, you can't monetize it to the extent that it is going to create a life that you would want to live for you and your family. And maybe that's not important to you, but I would say, listen, think about your passion, clearly understand how to monetize it. Make sure you have great people around you, because you can't do it alone. You need great teammates, you need mentors, you need sponsors. And then last but not least, listen, make sure that you're kind and make sure that you're willing to help someone else. You can't go through this world being a selfish person. I think selfless leadership is something that is critically important. If you do those things, and I believe if you have faith in God, because I do, then good things will happen.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you, Marco. Appreciate it.